Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network. Happy Indictment Day. Happy birthday.
Well, thank you. It's my birthday, and Fannie Willis gave me a beautiful RICO charge just wrapped in a bow. So thanks, Fannie.
So this appearance is Mark Hamill blessed, as you know. The force is with us. But
I love that Mark Hamill.
I have loved you on Twitter forever, and I've been whining, haven't I, Chris, forever?
You have.
When do we get politics?
Yes, you have.
And then someone tweeted, and here you are. Dreams do come true. RICO charges, fourth indictments. But what was your? I was saying, Lee. I don't know what your reaction was. I am sort of amazed by my own ability to be amazed at the breadth and depth of his criminality. Anything that surprised you about this latest indictment?
Well, you know what? Like, I don't know if it's so surprising. We knew Fannie Willis was working a little hard out. You know, she was working incredibly hard. I think the thing that, I mean, he's got a whole trifecta now. It's hot indictment summer. Like, this is bananas, right? So I think the thing that's so fascinating is now we've got espionage, we've got conspiracy against the United States, and now we have like mob boss RICO charges. And so it just feels like a full picture of the man we used to have as president. So it's not so much that I'm surprised, it's that it feels like between DC and Florida and Georgia, they're really telling us the full picture of who this man was, who we all kind of knew.
Right.
Innately. And now it feels a little bit like, okay, we weren't going crazy. We weren't taking crazy pills. We watched this all happen. And look, we weren't wrong, you know? And I think that is redeeming for so many of us.
Chris Christie said, when are we going to stop pretending this is normal? That we're on the fourth indictment and the, 100th and something felony charge against the front runner of the Republican Party for president. I mean, I just... Did you ever I feel like that's what seemed to drive you, is you're a normal mom that just hangs out in your kitchen, but you are so good at explaining stuff to normal people. But that's what it is, isn't it? That we're thought we were taking crazy pills this Trump era.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I started this before the Trump era, which is ironic because I'm just such a passionate politics nerd. That's why I call myself politics girl. Yeah. Because I really do care. I really do believe that politics can be a force for good in the world. And I think people have forgotten that. I think they've forgotten that government can do good things, that a lot of the things that we deal with in our regular life are actually government policy. And not paying attention to government doesn't mean government doesn't affect you. It means you can't affect it. And ultimately, we all kind of checked out. Yeah. So before the Trump years, I was doing civics online. I mean, with my personality, it was a little bit more like civics with sass. But in general, it was... it was like, why are we having Iowa caucuses? Like anything that confused me personally, I was like, I don't understand. Why do we start in the whitest state in America every year? Like, why is that the deciding factor? Why do we start there?
Where is that kitchen? Where do you live? Where is that kitchen that you do your...
I know. My kitchen is so deceiving. I live in Los Angeles. It is not a Los Angeles kitchen. So people all think I live somewhere else.
Oh, I'm going to be super clingy and your new best friend. Now that you told me that's a mistake.
Be careful.
Wait, you got a husband, a 15-year-old son, and you just, you were saying, even Michael Steele, who's my buddy too, who's on the show a lot. Yep. He was saying the same thing I just said to you. This is what we need to message. It's just people that are regular people that explain things the way regular people can understand them. And that's what you do in your kitchen. Here's how politics affects me.
Yeah, I think ultimately at the end of the day, the things that I do, when I started in the kitchen and I started doing the rants, it was basically because my husband couldn't take it anymore. You know, we've been married for 18
He's
years.
Shut up.
You guys see me. Like, if that was coming at you all day long, he was like, I love you. I love your energy. Please put it somewhere else. And so
I'm never going to be invited over. Your husband's going to be like, oh my God. Two of them.
He gets it. He gets it. He knows he's enough. Yeah. No, it's the thing is that we have so many of us have so many thoughts, and we don't I think one of the things that I'm good at is that I'm able to put into words what people are thinking, or I'm thinking what people can't quite put into words. So when I say it, they go, yeah, that. Right? And I think that's the thing. It's that so many of us, we have so much more power than we think we do, but it allows us, when you hear it spelled out simply, you go, yeah, that's what I was trying to say to my dad at dinner the other night. You know, that kind of thing. So it helps people talk to their own people.
I love what you said a while back. You said, a lot of the stuff that's gotten, up in this country is by women that look like me. It's like dead inside white ladies like us. But that is one of the challenges, right? Is how did any woman ever vote for Trump, and how in God's name could any women still be thinking of voting for Trump? And obviously there are millions. What do you think?
Yeah, but I think it's not even just Trump. I think it's the Republican Party. I think there have been, white women, people that look like me, are a problem because we do get a lot of our power in a patriarchy from our proximity to white men, right? So if white men are at the top of the ladder, as white women, even if it's subconscious, you have proximity to power, so you're number two. And I think that there are a lot of people that think, I just want to keep my place in society, and if I can hold up this structure, even again, if it's subconscious, then I keep my place. Because honestly, women are way down there. We see that. We saw what happens when any woman tries to say, like, you know what, I think I'll take some power. Everyone's like, oh, that's too much. I know you have all the experience, but like, don't be asking for power.
It's like Hillary.
We're still not ready.
It's like Hillary Clinton said last night. Why, when Rachel asked her, why does, Trump hate the women's soccer team? She goes, well, those are some pushy women there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys, I literally sell a shirt that says mouthy woman because that's what I've always been. And I think the thing is that there's an old, I want to say Dalai Lama quote that says that the world will be saved by the Western woman. And I don't think it's certainly not just the white woman, but it's the women who live within a democracy, who realize their power, who say, enough. I always say that it's like America needs a tough mom. Like we need a mom that's like, yo, I'm going to pull this car over. Like, what are you doing? I've had enough of this. Pull it together. And I think it is women that are like that. I think that's why the Barbie movie resonated so much with people, right? They were like, yeah, man, like this is like messed up society. And like, I got things to say. And I think that sometimes when you haven't been top of the food chain, it allows you to say, I've noticed that things are broken and I think that we should probably fix it. And when you start saying it out loud, a lot of other people go,
yeah, you are the mom that's going to pull this country over.
You know what? I really think I might be.
You are not kidding. You are not effing around. Do you get frustrated with, polls or Biden's approval rating when you're so good at enunciating the same stuff that I try to do every day, which is he has been the most successful president maybe ever. I mean, just in every way, by every barometer. How do you suggest we get that out there better? I mean, in what world could we even be close in a Trump to Biden matchup?
Yeah, it's astounding, right? I think the thing is that what I always say is we're responsible for our people. So those of us who can see how successful this president is, and it's not even up for debate. I mean, you look at his economics, you look at what he's done, the bills he's passed, everything he got done in the first 2 years is so unbelievably excellent for the country, from infrastructure and jobs to the CHIPS Act to the PACT Act. I mean, it's just endless good things for the country. And then you look at things where he's like, I think we should include mental health in American healthcare. And the Republicans are like, I think we should get rid of healthcare, right? And you're like, that's not even, what? I mean, and there's Americans out there that are like, decide between those two. You know what I mean? Like, there are so many wonderful things that the Democrats are doing and want to do and plan to do. And I say all the time, like, if you are not happy, if you say, hey, I hear that you're saying that the unemployment is down. I hear that you're saying that the economics are good. I hear that you're saying that these things are going well, but I don't feel it. I don't feel like things are going well. I can't afford a house, or my rent is too high, or like I have to commute too long to my job, or I can't get healthcare. So I'm not feeling it. So don't tell me things are good. And then this other party tells you things are super bad. And you go, yeah, that's how I feel. I feel like things are bad. And I think the thing is that we are responsible to change that narrative. We personally, when we're talking to the person in our salon chair or at the grocery store or at our dining room table, it's us that are paying attention, that know the difference, that can say, you know what, that's actually not true. And I would look that up. I used to say to my dad all the time, who is definitely a conservative at heart, but has changed his mind over the years. he'd say something and I'd say, where did you hear that? And I always think that that's the best way to approach people, with curiosity as opposed to argumentativeness. And don't get me wrong, I can be incredibly argumentative, but I find that curiosity, I know.
I love that in a woman.
But I find that mouthy, she's mouthy. But I find that curiosity is the way to go, where you go, where did you hear that? Like, what's the source of that? Like, where did you read that? I'd love to go and check that out. And then most of the time they don't know where they heard that. They don't know where they read that. You go, because what I know is blankety blank, they're actually doing great, or the blah, blah, blah. And then it gets into their head. So then when they hear something later on the radio, or they hear, they can't keep feeding their own, which is actually wrong and incorrect narrative.
Right. Yeah, Lee, I just lost my 100-year-old mom a few weeks ago, and I used to call her my, 100-year-old Republican Fox News watching mom. And inevitably, when I would say, Mom, where did you hear that? It's Fox News, and it is really a poison in our body politic. And that's all I could say is, she had Alzheimer's, and at some point we just stopped talking politics. But I was saying that maybe that's how we heal or take back our country, is one person that you love at a time. I mean, I don't know how else, because it is really kind of, when you hear these interviews at MAGA rallies, it's just so depressing. Just
it is.
Education level, that we don't have two sets, that we don't have one set of facts in this country anymore.
Yeah. And you know what? I honestly think that the things we have to do, are vote for Democrats, because the more power we have in Congress, if we hold the presidency, if we have local state houses, these kind of things, then we can start asking our representatives for change, because we know Democrats are willing to do that. Even if they are old school Democrats, if we have enough pressure on them to say, like, hey, this is actually what we want. And what we want is truth in broadcasting laws. You cannot just lie to us on the network. You cannot just take my mother and lie to her all day long and tell her the exact opposite of what is true. So much so that they have to, settle for over $700 million.
The documentary, that great documentary, The Brainwashing of My Dad. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's amazing documentary.
And by the way,
we need to work on things like that.
I just wanted to say, you're, so good at you retweeted the stakes of this election. It is not hyperbole to say it is fascism versus democracy. And you said, this thread reminds me of that quote, the road to fascism is lined with people telling you to stop overreacting. And as women, people told us to stop overreacting. They're never going to overturn Roe, right? And so, stop overreacting about how bad it'll be if Trump gets in, right? And here we are.
And yet, here we are. And I find it fascinating because not only were we correct that they were coming after it, we were correct that they're not stopping at Roe. The plan is not to stop at Roe. The plan is to roll back everything they didn't like from the beginning, to roll back civil rights, to roll back gay rights, to roll back women's rights. I mean, honestly, I think they'd like to roll back workers' rights. We now have children working in factories again. We have children doing night shifts at chemical plants. They'd love to take us all the way back to the time of the robber baron, where there was a certain type of American man who was in charge and the rest of us kind of fell in line. Yeah. And you could treat your secretary or your workers or whoever like you wanted to, because it was capitalism first. Yeah. And I know that a lot of people often say that, the foundational problem of our nation is that we built it on slavery. And I agree with that 100%, that we built our foundations on shaky, awful ground. But I would say even deeper than that is the foundation of greed. Slavery is a product of greed. Yep. And we built our nation on greed, and having people work for free and work in your land for free was part of that. And that is kind of the problem that has carried us through to this time now. Yep. And the people that want power and money, they cannot get enough. Yep. It feels like an old-fashioned children's parable. Don't believe in democracy. And the rest of us are watching it happen.
Yep. Listen, now that I know that we both live here in Los Angeles, here's my pitch. You are everything I dreamed you'd be and more. Someone needs to do a political Betty and Veronica. Obviously, Betty is straight. Veronica's gay in this version. We fight for truth, justice, and the American way. All right. Well, we'll work on it later.
Yeah, we'll workshop that.
We'll workshop it.
I'm 100% in, but you have to her hair was always with the blue streak.
That's right.
Exactly. Lee McGowan, I am Politics Girl on Twitter and elsewhere. What a treat, and I hope you'll come back again and again.
Absolutely. Happy birthday to me for being here with you.
Yeah, it's your birthday. It's your birthday. Happy birthday. Happy Indictment Day. See you, Lee.
Thanks, Lee.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.